Alright, some real talk, my friends on YouTube. Uh, this topic was something that actually came up during my last investigation. One of our team members is a sensitive, but she's not really using the gift as I use it. And I've already told her that I'll teach her as long as she's willing to learn. And I figured I'd make this video mostly on her behalf. I'll just talk to her. She knows who she is. I will be sending this video to her when I'm through. Anyway, um, when we were at Farrar, we were talking about how the biggest problem that most budding sensitives have when it comes to controlling their abilities is conquering the fear that you originally will have as a sensitive. And it's because we are taught from kind of an early age to not just be a skeptic about this kind of thing, but that it doesn't exist. And honestly, you and I, we've seen some things, we've heard some things, we've experienced some crazy things, and um, we know that yeah, we can't really explain what it is that we saw, but it doesn't mean that ghosts don't exist. It doesn't mean that abilities in people do not exist. So, let me just tell you real quickly. When I was first noticing that my abilities were coming into fruition, I was really scared. I was really, really scared. Waking up to a 6-year-old child when I don't have siblings, or there's no other children in the house, sitting on my feet in the middle of the night is a really scary experience for a 14-year-old girl. And the fear controlled me for a while. And that's the thing that I like to tell people that not to do is to let it rule you. The fear is always going to be there, I think, because you're going to know that something else is there, and it's probably going to scare you a little bit, freak you out. And granted, there comes a time when you're not as scared of it as you used to be, but it still instills a little bit of fear in you. So what do you do about that? Fear is not easily conquered, and anybody who's ever had an experience with the paranormal that is so scary that you couldn't really handle it can tell you. And I think the only thing that you can do is work through it as it comes. You have to learn not to freak out. You have to learn not to be the one walking away or running away or leaving the place that you're in, because it could very well be your own home that you're scared to be in, and that's not okay. You are the one living in that space, so you need to take control of that. Either way, being in a strange space, say you're, no matter where we've been, there's always been something freaky happening. But the way to control fear is to step on it. Literally step on it. When you have something going on and you're sensing something that's scaring you to death, you need to step forward and face it head on. It's the only way that you're going to get over this. And you know what? It is fine if you need to ask for help. You can always call on me, hun. I will always be here for you. You know that. You can always call me on the phone if you have something going on that you need to talk about. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I will always be here for you. But you can't let the fear control your life to the point where you're afraid to experience these things, because then you will have the problem where you are not wanting to do anything ever, and that you can't be afraid to do anything ever, because there's so much in life to be experienced, and that includes things in the dark. You think about it, and the ghost stories are probably the most exciting, thrilling stories, because they're the kinds of things that we don't really want to happen to us, except for those chosen few of us who go in search of this kind of thing. But think about it. When you walk toward the object of your fear, you look it straight in the eyes, you realize it's not so scary. Granted, this technique does not work all the time, and it doesn't work probably at first either. Maybe you need somebody to be with you, hold your hand, it doesn't matter. You have a team that loves you, you are our family, and if you feel like you need anybody's help for anything at all, you know all you have to do is ask. And that's why I'm here. I know that, technically you're older than me, but it does not matter. It was just like on the night of our investigation when I just walked with you to collect cameras or to do whatever to try and get you back into the game, because I know that you prefer to be in Command Central. Doesn't matter. You are a lot stronger than you think, and you can control this. You can conquer this. But you have to take it one step at a time. You can't let it overwhelm you, because if it overwhelms you, you're not going to want to go back into the situation in question. So, my biggest recommendation is baby steps. Do things in little bite-sized pieces. That means if you just have to take, 5 minutes in the dark in a location, 5-10 minutes in the dark at a location, that's fine. I think we can handle helping you back into this as long as you're willing to try. So, say you're having a strong feeling of something being in the room with you when you're trying to acclimate. You need to tell somebody. Or, just tap someone or tap me if I'm in the room with you, and I'll know exactly what you're talking about. Chances are we're probably sensing the same thing. So, talking it out is a good way to help yourself get over the fear. And I understand, because I have been there, that it's not always easy to do this kind of thing, but you can't just sit in Command Central all the time. And we love you enough to tell you this, because we like investigating with the whole team, not just a certain amount of people. We like it when everybody participates, and we understand that sometimes you get uncomfortable or too afraid or whatnot. It doesn't really matter. You can always tell us these things, and we can help you find ways to cope with it, but you have to be willing to try. Either way, your fear, yes, that is going to be the biggest number one thing you're going to have to contend with. And there will always be ways to cope with it. There will always be ways to help yourself. But you have to be willing to step up and ask. That's all I'm saying. I think the biggest fear buster that I learned when I was growing into my abilities was to take something with you, like a piece of equipment, maybe an audio recorder, take an EMF detector, whatnot. Doesn't really matter. Maybe even just the audio recorder will help. But the best way to help yourself is to talk. Talk at it. Let it know you're not really appreciating the feeling that it's giving you, because sometimes the spirit or whatever is there, it will not understand that it's making you afraid. Perhaps it just wants to talk to you, and it's doing it all in the wrong ways. Let's face it, spirits don't always have the function of being able to communicate with the living, because they've lost that ability over time. And for others it's easier, and for others it's harder. And spirits are human like we are. I mean, they're disembodied humans, granted, but they're still humans. So talking to it might be the thing to help you out. Talk to it, ask it questions. I mean, it doesn't even matter. I remember the first time that I was playing with an audio recorder when I was first coming into things. I was literally rambling on that tape. I can't even tell you half of the things I said. I know I said a lot of things like, oh, I don't really want to be in this room right now because you're kind of freaking me out, and such and such and such and such. But that can help you with what you're trying to achieve. And what you're trying to achieve is mostly conquering your fears so you can get on with things and controlling your abilities. Because fear inhibits control. Very basic thing, and fear inhibits a lot of other things too, and we know this, but when it comes to sensitivity, empathy, what have you, your fear will always inhibit your attempts to control your abilities. And if you really want to be able to live with your abilities in the way that a lot of sensitives are able to do, you're going to need to conquer your fear. That's a big, big thing. And of course, there are a lot of other factors, and I'm going to make more videos on this in the future, but this is Candid Talk, my friend. I am going to be here for you for the rest of our time in OPR, which I hope is going to be years and years and years to come. So that means we have lots of time to talk, lots of time to be completely frank and discuss how to be, um, how to cope with things and how to control your abilities. Because I understand how it is. I know how it was when I was first starting, and I know how scary it can be. You do not need to be ashamed of your fear, because we've all been there, and we're not going to taunt you for it. So more videos like this are definitely on the way. So, bye guys!